What's up, y'all?
Back again here for another video. This here will be the second video in my new series of videos I started this week, highlighting my favorite tuning setups and sleeper cars to use when racing people online, or maybe just use them in a custom blueprint to challenge your friends with. Or maybe you're just like me and you absolutely hate the meta of any game and honestly get disappointed when you see someone using the same car as you in an online lobby. But now that Forza Horizon 5's mechanics have made rear-wheel drive and front-wheel drive cars competitive, or even OP in some cases, who knows, that next sleeper you try out could be the new meta. Oh, and one more thing, don't judge the tunes of these cars by my driving. I'm a mediocre driver at best. And I'm winning online races with these builds, so if I can win with them, I'm pretty sure most of you can. Hell, some of these rear-wheel drive builds are so good, if you're a really good driver, you could beat anybody with these. Oh, and also, any clips you see where I'm not racing somebody online, I'm racing on unbeatable difficulty. Like 80% of the time I do online races, it puts me in off-road races, so it was really hard to get clips of every car I wanted. But with that, on to the cars. First up is probably my all-time favorite Lamborghini. Definitely the best name given to any car ever. You can't get any more badass than naming your car after Satan.
Son of Satan himself. Satanus. That's Latin for Satan.
The Diablo GTR, I think a lot of people use it for a drag car because it's one of the best drag cars in the game, but it's easily my favorite S2 class car to drive. It's just fun to drive and it's fast. Plus it's up there as one of the cheapest cars for S2 you can get. You just buy the regular Diablo SV from the auto shop, then spend 50 skill points to upgrade it to the GTR. I think it's only like $500,000 to put this whole car together, and then maybe another 100K for the tune. So even if you're broke, you could handle this one. This next one might even end up being a little cheaper than that. I think it's a barn find if I remember correctly. It's the Ferrari F40 Competition. I'm really surprised I don't see this one being used more often, being basically free as a barn find, and there are tons of good public tuning setups for this too. All-wheel drive setups drive almost as good as rear-wheel drive setups on this car, but the rear-wheel drive competes online much better. And it's one of the easier rear-wheel drive cars to drive too. It doesn't peel out a lot on takeoffs. You only have to kinda half-gas corners, and if you accidentally slam on the gas coming out of a corner, it won't spin you into oblivion. Oh, and quick little fun fact about the Ferrari F40. It was the last car that Enzo Ferrari himself had a hand in designing before he died. I'm a huge car nerd, so I probably have one of these facts for every single car on this list. Except maybe the next one. I haven't heard too much about the next one. And that's the Jaguar XJR15. Barn finds seem to be a little bit OP in FH5, and this car is no exception to that rule. This car is great for multiple classes and multiple different surfaces. I've seen people use this as an S1 off-road, an S1 racer on the street. I've seen them use it as S2 off-road as well, but I haven't seen it used as an S2 race car nearly as much as anything else. I think everybody got caught up with trying to make every single retro supercar into an S1 off-road. Yeah, but this thing is definitely top 5 fastest cars in S2. Even I can beat people well above my skill level using this car. And while I was tuning it, there was 2 different engine choices that were so close in performance, I just decided to post both tunes. So try both if you want. My test lap times for each of these tunes were within a half a second of each other, so I think they're pretty similar. It all kind of depends on your preference. These last 2 on the list I have never seen race against me online. They're probably the rarest cars that are actually capable of winning online. The first one is another S2, it's the Koenigsegg Regera. I swear, nobody uses this car at all, and honestly the only public tunes that are out there have the transmission changed out. And that's the most magical part about this car, is the Koenigsegg direct drive transmission. So if you know anything about cars, there's never really been a transmission like this in a production car. It's a single gear all the way, kind of like an electric car. It's because this is technically a hybrid. Even though it's not built like one, it uses 3 electric motors along with an internal combustion engine to get the 1500 horsepower it has. And being the lame-ass nerd I am, I had to use that transmission, so I just tuned one myself. I think my favorite thing about it though is on takeoff you can just hold the gas down because you're not going to peel out. It's a little slow through 0 to 60 and 60 to like 120, but then once you get into the higher speeds, it's way faster than any other car. Not to mention, it's sexy as shit. I think this is the coolest looking car in the game. But I think I just like my cars like I like my women, with a big curvy ass.
Only did it for her ass, you understand?
That Dairy Terry was all a diny, huh?
Oh, and one more thing. Be careful with the gas coming out of corners. The tail will flip out on this thing real easy. And with only one gear, it's hard to tell where your max torque is going to kick in. Sometimes this thing will just lose the back end randomly. So as long as you just never mash the gas down all the way, coming out of a turn, you're going to be fine. I'll try and post another tune here that has a regular transmission in it. There's a couple public ones that I found just in the last day or two that are actually really good. I just want to see more people using this. Okay, so last one for today will be the McLaren F1 GT. To me, this seems like the fastest S2 in the game, hands down. Super nimble, super light, and grip's awesome. There's a lot of good tunes out there for this too. The all-wheel drive tunes tended to have way too much understeer for me, and I did a couple tunes of this car myself for rear-wheel drive, and they just were kind of mediocre. But I found a couple public ones that are just amazing, and I'll post them here. I rarely see this car used as an S2. I usually see it in S1 racing against CC8Ss and NSX GTs. But if you already have an S1 that's OP enough for you, use this in S2. It is easily my most expensive car on the list though, at a cool 15 mil. But you can win it through a wheel spin. Just be soft with the throttle because it's really light and has a lot of power. But it corners almost as good as an X-Class Sesto Elemento. I definitely don't do the car justice the way I'm driving it here. It's not being pushed to its limits, trust me. So if you get good with this tune, you could be unbeatable. This won't be my last tune sharing video. I got a few more interesting ones coming, and they're pretty easy to make, so I should be able to have them out within about a week of each other or so. I'm working on a couple of big projects right now too that'll be coming up in the next month or so. So stay tuned for that, and please leave comments. I want to know if I suck. I want to know what I should change, or maybe how I should cover a topic in the future or something. But that's it, I'm bouncing, son.
Peace.